Folks, they finally sold. I'll talk about that and then get into the latest home prices and insights for York Region for week ending November 15th, 2023. A few times now on these videos, I've spoken about an area in York Region. It's an expensive area. The entry price point for this neighborhood is about $2 million. And I talked about there's been properties sitting there and sitting there. Well, for June, July, August, and September, in those 4 months, June, July, August, September, there were 4 properties sold. October and November. November's not even finished yet. So for less than 2 months, we've had 8 sales in this neighborhood. For 4 months prior, 4 sales. Less than 2 months after, so October to now, 8 sales. And these are all properties minimum $2 million or more. What's going on? Well, the buyers apparently are there. They're prepared to buy, but they've been watching the way I've been watching, and they've been watching these properties sit there. Now, mind you, a lot of them, the ones that did sell, almost all sold with a big discount from where they were originally listed at. One was listed for 2.7, eventually ended up selling for just over 2. Another one was listed at 2.4, sold for 2.1, and so on. Now, the reason I'm telling this story is because, first of all, if somebody's on the market right now, they probably want to sell. And that's what happened with these sellers. They've been on the market, many of them 4 months, and they eventually sold, but at a reduced price from where they were originally listed at. But the real story behind the scenes here is the very, very first time when they went on the market, months ago, in the middle of the summer or at the beginning of the summer, when they went on the market, I'm sure the listing agent, or I would hope the listing agent, suggested a price to cause the home to sell. And the seller almost for sure said, "Are you nuts? I will never sell my house that low." And the seller looked at all the other properties for sale, because there was lots for sale in that area, and say, if they're priced at 2.5, we should be priced at 2.5. Or my home's nicer than theirs, we should be priced at 2.7. Not taking into account that those ones that are listed for sale have not sold. And so that's what happened. They went out at a price, and over time, they ended up now selling for 2.1. But chances are pretty good that if they would have been out at the right price early on when they listed, it was probably higher of a list price and most likely higher of a sold price than what they're getting right now. Because over time, over 4 or 5 months, prices have trended down and more competition came onto the market. So if they just would have understood the market initially when they went out, they probably would have got more for their home. And that's really the moral of the story. In this market, go out at the right price the first time. Trying your luck, gambling with oh yeah, you know what, if we don't get our price, we'll reduce it later. Sometimes you're reducing it more than you thought you would reduce it. You're better off getting it right the first time. Put it at a price that it's going to sell. You'll probably get more, especially if you have to sell. This is not the time to play games in the market and try your luck. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, you'll see a spot up here to click for my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. So folks, prices are coming down. And depending which part of the GTA you're interested in, they're coming down at different speeds at a different pace. Right now in this video, we're talking about Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham, and prices are coming down more slowly. Given the example I just spoke about earlier, some of those sellers were on the market for 4, 5, and 6 months, reducing prices, some of them a little bit along the way, but eventually they got the sale that they wanted. Maybe not the price that they wanted, but they got the sale that they wanted. The other party that was also waiting the 4, 5, and 6 months was the buyer. Buyer saw the initial price. They didn't want to jump in. But eventually, when the price got to a level that that buyer felt made sense to the buyer, that's when they went in and they bought. So buyers are buying, sellers are selling, but it has to make sense, obviously, to both sides. Let's have a look at this week's numbers for week ending November 15th. This is for detached properties only, average sold prices, excuse me, Vaughan, Markham, and Richmond Hill. The average prices are quite close. We're looking at 1.7 to 1.8 is the price range. Every now and then we get clusters of where average sold price is pretty close to each other for the three main cities that we're looking at. We're going to start off with Vaughan. For week ending November 15th, 17 detached properties were sold, which is up from the previous week. 3 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price came way down from the previous week to $1,694,000. Now, 1,694, I kind of said it in jest, basically. It's way down, but realistically speaking, the previous week was a bit nuts. And every now and then we got to look at the data and decide if it makes sense or not. The previous week, 13 detached properties were sold. More than half, 7 of those were at $2 million or more. A very unrealistic week. And average sold price shot way up to $2,104,000. I've put an X through that. If we forget about that week altogether, 1,694 kind of falls in line to where prices have been over the last couple months anyway. So this really is more realistic where average sold prices are over time for Vaughan detached prices. 1,694 is 11% higher than where the average sold price was for the same week a year ago. Median price is 7% higher than where the median price was a year ago. I put a circle around all these. 1,525 is pretty much in line, just the way 1,694 is in line to where we were prior to the previous week. Well, 1,525 for median price is in line to where we were if we were to delete the previous week. Sales, 17 were sold, not a lot. A quarter, 24% basically, just under a quarter sold at list price or more. So there's not a lot of competition. Sales year to date, January 1st to November 15th. This year we have 9% fewer sales versus last year. However, if we go back to 2021, this year we have 48% fewer sales versus 2021. That's a huge difference in the amount of sales and volume that we're doing for detached properties. Listings are coming down. You know, listings, sales should be trending down now. It happens every year at this time. It's a seasonal trend. For sure, there's interest rate issues and affordability issues, and that's all there, and that just compounds whatever situations we're having right now. However, taking everything away, just looking at seasonal, sales should be coming down now because it happens every single year leading to the year end. So, listings coming down, active listings slowly becoming fewer and fewer every week. Months of inventory shot up to, or came down actually to 5.4 months of inventory. So it came down from a crazy 7.3 to now sitting at still high, 5.3, but maybe a bit more realistic is 5.3. And over time, we could see months of inventory is trending upwards. Here's Richmond Hill. 14 detached properties were sold, which is up from the previous week where we sold 10. So 14 detached properties were sold. 4 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price came down from the previous week to $1,794,000. So it's almost 1.8, the average sold price. And that to me looks like prices are trending down. If you take out the low and you get rid of the high, you can kind of see it trending down. Those are technical terms, by the way, low and high. Compared to last year, 1,794 is 9% higher than where we were this time last year. The median price, it's crazy, 29% higher. So let's just not consider that a normal week for median price. Median price is higher than the average sold price at $1,809,000. Sales, 14 were sold, 29% sold at list price or more versus last year. We have 10% fewer sales year to date. Compared to 2021, we have 51% fewer sales in Richmond Hill of detached properties. Listings are trending down. Although they're up from the previous week, overall trending down. Active listings becoming fewer. Months of inventory came down from the previous week, but similar to Vaughan, where Vaughan was 5.4 months of inventory, Richmond Hill sitting at 5.1 months of inventory. More of a buyer's market, but just at the border of a buyer's and a balanced market, and months of inventory is trending up. Let's look at Markham. Now Markham, kind of doing its own thing here. Sales kind of look like they're trending up. 26 detached properties were sold. 4 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price up from the previous week, sitting at $1,705,000. Now, average sold price is up overall. My opinion is post-Labor Day, prices are trending down. This 1 week doesn't change the trend for me. We need a few more weeks of that. But $1,705,000 is 5% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 6% lower than where we were this time a year ago. And the dotted line, the 4-week moving average, both for average price and median price, looks like it's trending down. 26 were sold, 39% sold at list price or more. So Markham, a bit more competitive than Richmond Hill and Vaughan for detached properties. Compared to a year ago, year to date, sales are up. We have 1% more sales this year in Markham than we did last year, which is one of the only areas that we see an increase in sales year to date. However, versus 2021, 49% fewer sales this year versus 2021. And listings trending down, active listings trending down. That's normal, seasonal. Months of inventory, kind of for the last few weeks. Actually, if we go back to the end of September, months of inventory overall looks like it's trending down. Again, that's the opposite of what's going on in Vaughan and Richmond Hill. We're sitting at 2.4 months of inventory for Markham. Here's condos. Now condos, this is for all of York region, and these are condo apartments only, not condo townhouses. 18 condos were sold. I put an exclamation mark there because 18 is extremely low. When we look back just a few weeks ago, 18 is half of what we were selling just a few weeks ago. So 18 were sold. 2 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price, however, shot way up to $704,000. I put a question mark there because 18 is so low. 2 of them at $1 million or more. You get a few other condos selling up in the higher, just under $1 million. Because there's only 18, it overall affects the price quite a bit, the average price. That's why we're sitting at 704. But overall, prices are trending down when it comes to condos. Compared to last year, 704, it's 4% higher than where the average price was a year ago. The median price is 5% lower than where we were a year ago. You could see the dotted line. The dotted line's a 4-week moving average, and that is for sure trending down. 18 were sold, 39% sold at list price or more. And that percentage has been increasing, which is going against the grain right now. That percentage in most areas is coming down. For York Region condos, it's been going up. Compared to last year, year-to-date sales, we have only 2% fewer sales this year, but compared to 2021, we have 37% fewer sales this year versus 2021, and that's year-to-date sales. Listings, they've been quite steady for a while. This week they came down to 106 new listings. Active listings also looks like it is still climbing, but just by a little bit. Months of inventory, because sales dropped so low and active listings really didn't move, we've got a lot more inventory. And at the pace that we're buying now, which was only 18, it'll take us longer to buy all the properties available for sale. Months of inventory shot way up to 9.3 months of inventory. As months of inventory go up, prices tend to come down. Here's a quick summary. We're sitting pretty much in a buyer's market. If you're not seeing a buyer's market, you're most likely going to experience a balanced market. Very few areas will you see a seller's market. There might be hints of that in some neighborhoods, especially in Markham, where it's a bit more competitive than anywhere else right now. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.